Good morning. Welcome, everybody. This is Scott McMeans with the Business Spotlight. I'm happy to have with me today Latrell and Lindon Blackman of Blackman Consulting. These two brothers are going to take the world by storm with their efforts in making business a little bit different than what you might think. So, before we get into the conversation, I'm going to let these two guys introduce themselves, tell their story. So, boys, the camera and the microphone are yours. Tell us your story. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Black Mind Consulting.
Perfect. So I'm Lyndon.
And I'm Latrell.
Yeah, and we're the owners of Blackman Consulting. The story started off, we were just two kids, after COVID. I'm figuring out how to try to make money online because I'm worried about another COVID. So I'm just going through a bunch of courses, learning how to do SEO optimization, copywriting for businesses, email marketing, and then your point of view.
I tried photography, graphic design, drop shipping, a lot of different ways to make money online. And I struggled to keep consistent clientele coming in because there was just such a large variety of services that you could offer. And to be starting a company and learning skills at the same time, I ended up partnering with my brother to make it a little bit easier so we could offer as much value as possible.
Yeah, after months of me begging this guy, he finally cracked. And yeah, we went into business together. And we started off just doing work for everyone. But now we're focused strictly on the CPA niche because we eventually niche
Okay.
down.
I love it. So, talk to me a little bit about. Obviously, you guys are doing SEO, copywriting. Latrell, tell us a little bit about your background and what you bring to the table. So there's an understanding of how you made the transition and niche into CPAs.
Beautiful. So I've been branding for a long time. I started off in graphic design, building logos, brand packages, and I made my first website back in 2014. So I'd always had my skill set in technology, and the further we progressed, I built better websites, faster speeds, more optimized for growth and return on investment with different types of outreach and marketing. But I'd say now we systemize our process a lot to where it's very standardized. We have an SOP for every single thing that we do to grab as much of the attention of the consumer as possible in those first 3 seconds of being on a website.
Damn, that's pretty good. So, why is it that you guys niche down into CPAs? What was the draw into that world?
All right, so when we first started,
That wasn't a
uh,
joke. You guys aren't supposed to laugh at
yeah.
that.
Well, I think it's kind of a funny story. At first we were looking into the home service niche, car detailing niche, herbalists, herbal remedies. Like we're getting all types of jobs, and we're like, we got to niche down on one of these. Like just find the market because we already put in. We do a bunch of research before every project starts. So, I'm looking up some videos, and they're like, you need to pick a niche, pick a niche. And my mentor always says like, you have to niche down and go after one group. So, it was a late night and I was just finally fed up. So I'm looking at like a bunch of niches in different industries. And one industry caught my eye just because it's like it has a very boring connotation to it. Like I'm looking and I see accounting. So I just type in accounting websites. And I woke him up out of his sleep. I said, "Oh, I got the perfect one for us."
So, you went into what you considered to be an outward facing, boring market, and you're trying to revolutionize it with allowing that value each CPA has to come forward, and not only the website but the way they communicate, the messages they send. You're trying to, and I think this is what you've made comment to. You're trying to make CPAs sexy. You're trying to make them more approachable. You're trying to. I think at one point, Latrell, you had said you're trying to bring CPAs to the real world, or the real world into CPAs. I can't remember exactly what you said, but trying to make it easy for people to relate to CPAs. And I'm curious how that all has gone so far. What's the secret sauce that you guys put together? Not that you want to give away your secret sauce, right? But I'm curious, like how's this working? Like, what is it that you've really done to tap into that market?
Yeah, for sure. We started off watching movies like The Big Short, Margin Call. And then, we've done a bunch of competitor analysis, and our secret sauce is just providing the most value than any of our competitors. And we got the SOPs and blueprints to prove it. Like everything is down to a science, how to get the most traffic to a website. And just branding, you got to have your face on there. Like that's just some of our sauce, but we got some big projects to come, and
All
we'll show
right.
you. Yeah, we'll show you for sure.
No, I like it. And then, like, one of the things I love to ask people on the podcast is what is it special about Blackmine? What is your value proposition that allows people to feel very comfortable spending their money with you? Why would somebody step into your world as opposed to anybody else's that can do the exact same thing you guys do? What's so special that separates you guys?
I love that question. I'd say first off is a faith focused and faith-based background to where everything that we do in our business, we structure after the kingdom of God. So every interaction that we have, we're focused on serving and fulfilling the best that we can for that client, no matter what it is. So if that means staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning or doing whatever it takes to make sure that we can provide everything that you thought, and then the extra mile, we go for that every single time.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
value at the end of the day, with a lot of these companies, you can get like 1,000 different services that are all like bottom line services for like a couple $100 a month. But with us, we take it to the next level. We offer the whole nine, press releases to get your brand out there. Uh, we run ad campaigns, website, top to bottom. And yeah, it's just the value. We provide a lot of value to our average client. And like just for our standard package, and then the last thing that makes us different is us, there's no other
Okay.
Lindon Trail. So
I think that's a good thing because no one else, I don't think we can handle this much going on. You guys have a really ambitious way of looking at life, and I love that because life is meant to be lived, and you guys are really bringing a different approach to a marketplace that seems benign. It seems like it's ripe for your approach, and that is bringing people to the reality that CPAs are necessary, but they don't have to be boring. And your approach is really tapping into something that I think most CPAs would appreciate because they've always been seen as run of the mill. Everybody can count numbers, right? But if you have a different value proposition as a CPA, you want Blackmine to help you promote that into the world. Sounds like a really good value proposition. So walk
yeah.
me through some of the things you guys have done. I mean, it's rare, but not unique that brothers get into business together. How is it that you guys work together and manage through some of the challenges that you faced since you started the company, right? I understand you woke him up from a dead sleep. I can't imagine that's a solid way to wake up your business partner. But walk me through like what are some of the challenges you guys have faced over the last years or so getting this business to the point where it is now?
Ooh, we've had a lot of challenges, At first we started off just me and him doing everything from start to finish. We weren't outsourcing anything or like trying to build a team. We just thought like, oh, this is what we're gonna do. So, we had to try to build a team up, which we're still in development now. It takes a while to find talent, but a lot of challenges, praise God, because man, I don't even if he would have told me how many challenges we were gonna face,
We wouldn't be in business right now.
yeah.
I think
So
that's a good way to put it. I want to tap into what you just said. Finding talent is tough, right? And I think that every business has a hard time finding talent. What is it that you're looking for? So if somebody was going to listen to this podcast or watch you two and think, yeah, I want to go work for those guys, what is it that you're looking for? Like, talk to me about what's the ideal candidate to come work for Blackmine.
ooh,
That's a really good question.
Go for it.
So in our process or our SOPs, we break it down step by step to where after we have that interaction with the client on the call and we close them for the project, the first thing that we have to do is content, right? So we're breaking down all the words, every single thing that we will put on that website, everything that we will put in these campaigns is broken down. And then next is the design phase. So through that design phase, there's a structure of a website or style of website that we really like to go and focus towards because we know it converts so well. So when we're looking for talent, I'm not just looking for somebody who can read down, a 10-page sheet of information and give me verbatim exactly what they read. Though we want those same elements, we want there to be your own personal feel, a design aspect of that to show who you are. Because that's been our hardest challenge so far is when I design the website, it's very easy for me to just put my own little twist on there and bring that life to it. But how do I get someone else to have that same confidence in their skill set to say, well, you gave me this and I decided to give you all of this
Yeah,
back.
for real. For real.
Okay, no, that's good. I think there's a very interesting balance between creativity and madness, right?
Mhm.
Structure and benign. Like there's a really big balance here. And when you're looking for somebody to come work for you, one of the valuable things that you can do as an organization is give your employees the autonomy, the authority to go do the things that they can actually do, right? And when you appreciate what they do, it makes it that much easier for people to reciprocate, keep coming back and wanting to do things for you. So if I'm listening to what you had just said, you want somebody who has their own personal touch and creativity, but yet founded in a systemized approach that they can follow to make whatever their creativity come to life in a very quick fashion. Is that a pretty good statement?
Yeah, for
Almost
the
spot
most
on.
part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Because what's nice about this is hopefully people are going to watch and be like, I want to work for those guys. How do I get there? Right. So we get a chance to tell people a little bit more about your business, get people to think about how can they work with you. And maybe you'll get somebody that's going to dial you up on LinkedIn and say, hey, give me a shot. I'd like to come work with you because I can do these things. When you're talking about the people on your team, how many different interactions do you have now? Because I think you said building a team is tough, and I agree with you. And you started outsourcing a lot of stuff. So is it just the two of you now, or do you have a staff? How's that working?
Right now we work with a lot of freelancers, and we got a few of them that we work with consistently, because they just do amazing work. Like we
Mhm.
plan to bring them on board full time when our client flow is pretty steady, but right now it's just we outsource to a bunch of different people, like just a little sample. Give us what you got, and then we, if it's not great, we just do it ourselves. So, yeah.
All right. Well, sometimes the growth part of that equation is more important than the actual result, right? So you bring somebody on and let them contribute to a point where they get a chance to learn a little bit more about you and how they contribute at a better pace or better capacity, and you'll see a little bit different vibe. So I think it's great that you guys have freelancers that you feel very comfortable with, and eventually, if they do the right thing, they'll get a chance to be on board full time, which is huge because there's opportunity for growth. When you guys think about some of the best lessons that have come across over the last couple of years, what's the one thing you can appreciate? What's the one thing that you would say, yeah, this is a hard learned lesson, but I'm glad I learned it?
You get one, I get one.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna end
yeah,
up
that's
taking
would be great.
yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number one tip I would say would be pay for someone else's mistakes.
Okay.
Get a
Talk to me.
mentor, do whatever you can to learn from somebody who is in the business or in the industry. We spent a lot of time focusing on problems that we had not faced yet. So to have someone talk to us or work with us to show us the issues and the pitfalls they went through when they started off in their business gives you a head start to where you're not taking all these face punches. You're not fighting Mike Tyson in his prime. You can ease your way into it and avoid these easy like because there's a lot of them.
It's a
Yeah.
great lesson. That's a great piece of advice too, which I appreciate that because there's a lot of people out there that are exceptionally good at what they do for a living as a technician, right? But when it comes to owning a business, it's a slap in the face, right? And you made comment about Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until they get punched, and like what now everything's changed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you think you're going to start a business and not get punched in the face multiple times a day, a week, a year, yeah, you're in the wrong business, man. Because
They're
it's
not
going
in
to happen,
business.
right? It's
Yeah.
going to happen. It's going to happen. Linda, what's your best lesson or lesson you'd like to share?
Just recently we learned be yourself. Like if you want a copy of another company, you're gonna be just like that company, and they're gonna probably choose the person who's being themselves. So I would just say be yourself in everything that you do. And people love authenticity. People work with who people like. So the best shot you got is being yourself.
I love that. That's a great lesson because I think once you start in on as a new business, people love to chase money, and rightfully so. You got bills to pay, you got loans, whatever. You got to chase money. But the way to get to your true self is to continue being your true self, so you attract the right people that you want to work with. It's interesting if you go back and look at what we've talked about so far. I want you guys to really relate to the audience, and you've done an excellent job of that by telling them who you are and what you stand for. Your faith and focus, your service, your attention on the customer. That has a lot to do with the kind of people you are, and that attracts the right kind of people to work with you. So when you go through life, you can be yourself all you want, but you're only gonna go so far unless people appreciate who you are. And that's something you guys really brought to the table. Is I really like the idea of being yourself and pay for other people's mistakes. In other words, get advice before you get punched in the face. Some good stuff, man. Really good stuff. So talk me through a little bit. I have a question for you about what is it that you would say is the best advice you would give somebody starting a business, other than the lessons you guys have learned? What is it that's a really good piece of advice you'd give somebody?
I say shoot now, aim later. You just got to start. If you're starting, that's the fun part. Like you don't know anything that you're doing.
Okay.
When me and him started, I used to just be landscaping, but I never did a tech business. Like you want it to be so perfect to start off, and it's never gonna be perfect. Like
Okay.
so you just gotta start and then start aiming as a you go, yeah, as you stay in it for long.
Well, I will tell you this. I understand your thought that it's never going to be perfect. It can be perfect when you do the right things and you get the right clientele and you serve people right. It can be perfect. And we can show you how to do that, because every business owner goes into the world of business thinking, I'm gonna have an amazing business. I'm gonna do this amazing thing for amazing customers. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. And then, as Latrell says, you get punched in the face. You're like, all right, now I gotta protect myself. Sometimes it's okay to step through that a little bit and say, you know what? I wanted this to be perfect. I started this business to be perfect. Why would I second guess myself, and why would I fall back on my dreams and my goals? Let's just power through this. Let's make this as best as we possibly can. Yes, there are going to be trials and tribulations as you go through building your business, but you can build the perfect business. You just have to take the time to do it. And I think you guys are on the right pace. You guys got a great mindset. Latrell, what would be your piece of advice?
My piece of advice would be patient. It's very easy to compare yourself to other businesses or other companies doing incredible things. And especially when you're starting off, you're looking at them as inspiration, but you don't want to use them as road marks or comparison,
Mm-hmm.
because it'll stop you from being A, who you are, and B, it'll take away your focus from what's the most important for you at that time.
I love that. And here's an interesting point. If you were to take the comment that you just said, be patient, and the comment that Lyndon said is shoot now and aim later.
Hey,
There's okay, they're so opposite until you dive into what you two said about them, right? What you said is shoot now and aim later. And in the context of be patient, it wasn't take your time to be patient. It was don't worry so much about what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to other businesses. You are yourselves. So when you are shooting and aiming later, it's not because you're impatient. It's because you're ambitious and you want to go for the right goal. But in that context, you want to say, I'm not going to compare myself to any other business out there because they're doing their thing. We do ours. And when you also stand on the things of be yourself, okay, this all kind of ties. It's very interesting to watch the two of you communicate to each other, because Linda to look over her shoulder, Latrell, you look at him. Like you guys, I wouldn't say you share the same brain. Clearly you don't, but you have very different opinions and viewpoints on the business. But I think you ground yourselves incredibly well in, I want to be ambitious. I want to aim later because I'm shooting now. And you're saying, well, wait, be patient. You're saying the very similar thing, but very different approaches. And I think that's what makes your connection very successful so far, in that you guys keep each other in check. And I think that's a good way that every business owner should have,
100%.
right? Okay. It's interesting, right? Everybody needs a business partner that has their back. Everybody needs a business partner that can relate to them. You two clearly have all that. Your biggest challenge is getting customers to buy into what you're doing, right? I think every business would say, I just want more customers. So what is it that you would want to say? What is it that you think you can do to help a business out? What's your pitch right now? If I had 1,000 CPAs watching this video, what would you want them to know about Blackman Consulting?
Perfect. All right, bet. So if 1,000 CPAs were watching this, I would tell them, what we do simply, we don't get you leads, we don't run your ads, we don't do anything. We rebrand your accounting firm to make it more digestible for the average consumer. If we can't understand it, we're not CPAs. Your average client probably won't understand it. So that's where we come in. We make it digestible and we build trust where people can trust you with their finances. At the end of the day, we're in the digital age of tech. So a website can be a very key component to your business. And if you're not utilizing it correctly, you're missing out on hundreds, if not thousands of leads every day.
Love it. That's fantastic, man. It's a great way to pitch yourself into the world. Because you've said this multiple times. People do business with people they like, right? That's the way it is. People like to do business with people that they like and appreciate, know, like, and trust, right? They don't get a chance to know, like, or trust you until they get to meet you. And how do they get a chance to meet you? A really cool website. And the fact that you use the word digestible for the average client, I think that frames what you do very well. You're taking what could be considered a very boring business and making it digestible, or it's actually bringing it to the average person so they can relate to what it is you do. I think that's huge. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for CPAs to really connect to Blackman and take advantage of what you have to offer. So congrats on that. It's a really good message. And I think you guys have a hell of a future in front of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. You guys do all the talking. I'm just here giving you the opportunity to talk about it. Last thing I want to ask you, because I ask most people this when I get a chance. You guys are very young compared to me. You're young. But if you were to go back in a time machine and sit down next to an 18-year-old version of yourselves, what would you tell the 18-year-old version of yourself?
Ooh, that's a good question. That was 2 years ago, and I've came a long way. I've came a long way.
You've come a long way, baby.
If I was sitting next to my 18-year-old self, I would say, all right, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll answer.
You go first. You go first.
If I went back in time and told my 18-year-old self a piece of advice, it's going to sound crazy, but I'd probably tell him exactly what my little brother said. Shoot first and aim later.
Right.
Take that next step. Be more than ambitious. Be persistent. And you're not going to know what you're doing at the time, but that's the beauty of business. You learn along the journey. It's the journey of the process that you become the person you're supposed to be. So taking that first step instead of being extremely or overly cautious, shoot first, aim later.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for that. Lindon, go ahead, man.
Yeah. I would say, one, stay organized and trust in God. You feel me? At the end of the day, because there's a lot of times where you don't know what's going to happen next, and you need someone to depend on. And the person of my choice would be God. But at 18, I wasn't who I was today. I would just say that.
Well, that's good. If you stayed the person you were at 18, there'd be no growth. There'd be no advantage to growing and spending 2 years doing nothing, right? So you spent 2 years becoming a different person, and that's a good thing, right? Imagine what you're going to be in 10 years from now.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Cool as hell. So I appreciate you guys spending time on the show today, and I appreciate you telling me your story. This has been great. So anybody interested, all the information you need to get in touch with Latrell and Lindon will be down in the description below. And give them a call, get in contact with them and let them know what you're looking for, and they'll definitely show you what they can do for you. All right, guys, I appreciate you being on the show, and we'll talk to everybody again on the next episode of the Business Spotlight.
I see y'all. Yeah, have a good one, guys.
Awesome.